In this episode, I chat with Jordan Richard about her phenomenal tour season, being named Player of the Year, and more. I'm Timm Young, and this is The Bowler's Mind. Hi, Jordan. Welcome to the show, and thank you for being here.
Hi, thanks for having me.
I wanted to start by just reading you a list real quick. Points first, average first, championship round appearances first, cashes first, and wins first. And all of those that I just listed have your name in the number one spot. Now, if that doesn't look like dominance, I don't know what is. I was wondering if you could share your perspective on your 2023 tour season.
Exciting, very fulfilling. A lot of hard work goes into this, and it's not just one thing that clicked that led to this. I say all my past years on tour really have led up to this moment. And a lot of people say like, oh, like you were going to win Player of the Year at some point in your life. Like, of course, like that's your goal. I didn't expect to do it so soon. But I think the one word I would go is just fulfilling.
What led up to this? You mentioned that this led up to this season. What were previous seasons like, and how was this season different?
When I first went on tour, I won right away. So, you have such high expectations after that like you can win all the time. Unfortunately, it's just not reality.
Sure.
And then at the end of my first season, I made like 4 shows right at the end, but I never won. And then the following year, I won in like the first couple tournaments again, and then I didn't win again. And then I didn't win for 3 or 4 years, however many years it was. So it's like you constantly knock on that door, but you forget like how to kick it down. So then like once I finally made it to the finals this year and kicked the door down, it's like you learn how to win all over again.
Leading up to this tour season, how did you feel going into the season?
I actually bowled the USBC championships the week before. And honestly, I was questioning what the heck I was doing after being out there because it was not fun. And I bowled very poorly, I felt. So I was like, well, maybe I'm not ready for a tour. Like, did I do enough preparing? Like, could I go back and prepare more? Like, absolutely. But then I went to the first stop and I got second. So I was like, my mind was settled very quickly.
You mentioned not bowling well prior to tour. How do you distinguish between the two? Like, and I know that some of that is just bowling, but you said you didn't feel like you were bowling well, but probably most people watching you there felt like you looked the same. You didn't look like you didn't know what you were doing, but it just sometimes just isn't there. So can you kind of distinguish in your mind, like how do you deal with that, and how do you explain that to someone?
I feel like sometimes you just don't match up. I feel like as bowlers, we all kind of have those days, and I think we all go through it, some more than others, some maybe not so much. So like when everybody's like, oh, like you matched up this year on tour, like, yeah, I did. Like my ball roll, I feel like matched up on everything. And then, like somebody put it into perspective, like outside of like USBC championships, like, I didn't feel like I had my best, but like that tournament is all about who you go with and how you break the lanes down. And like my group was not the best at that either. So, I bowled that to have fun. I don't bowl that to win. It's more of just go with my friends and have fun. But for like tour, somebody put it into perspective and said like, so I was like, well, I got to use my A game majority of the time. And they're like, well, maybe like you used your B, C, and D game more, but like they just got better. And so like that kind of put it into perspective for me as well.
What do you consider your A game to be?
Oh gosh, I don't know. Where I can
strike a lot.
Strike a lot. Yeah.
What how do you like to see the lanes then? I mean, when you're most comfortable, what do you think that looks like?
To not see like early ball roll. And some people get that mixed up. I don't like when the fronts hook a lot.
Okay.
Because I have like I have a heavy ball roll. So in the front part of the lane, if it's like hooking a lot, then like my ball sees that super early friction.
And so because of that, then if you're getting early friction, you're going to lose energy really quick, and then your ball has not as much on the back end.
Yeah, that's when I flat down a lot.
Okay. During this tour, Did you experience any adversities you had to overcome that maybe the general public isn't aware of?
Um, like when I had my super low 130 games, those kind of crept in and they creep in kind of fast.
Hmm.
They drop you down pretty quick.
Sure.
Like for that kind of, I would say like it was more of just like the adversity of trying to figure everything out and making everything click. Like when you feel close, but like you want to be closer. And it's just like it's just trying to figure it out every frame. You can't get too far ahead of yourself. You can't dwell on the past either.
Hmm.
So it's like you got to just take it frame by frame.
Just out of curiosity, what do you typically target?
Like where are my eyes at?
Right.
Like I look down, like right past the foul line.
Okay.
But I kind of like I draw an arrow. So
Okay.
like I draw an arrow from like the break point, like back to the arrows. And then once I start walking, like I follow the arrows and then I follow them back, like right in front of the foul line.
So you start by looking at the arrows, and then as you approach the foul line, your eyes come back down closer to the foul line.
Yep.
Okay. Is there a strategy to that? Does it help you get the ball on the lane sooner or get it into an earlier roll?
I think I've just always done it. And like I was like, oh, like move your eyes down lane. Like we've tried that a million times.
Mm-hmm.
And like I feel like once I look further down lane, like I start spraying the ball all over.
Mm.
Like it's not natural to me.
Gotcha. How do you like to celebrate a win, a new title?
With my friends and my family.
Okay.
We don't have a lot of time to really like go out and
Right.
celebrate
Yeah,
much.
many times you have
Like,
to, the next day
usually,
you have to start bowling again.
yeah, like on the 3-and-1s, we get done on say a Wednesday night and then the next one starts Thursday. Or if like they're the bigger tournaments, we get done bowling at 10, 11 o'clock after the show on Saturday, and all of us have 5 a.m. flights on Sunday.
Mm.
So it's not much there's really not a lot of time to celebrate. But we celebrate later when we all see each other.
For those who may not know, would you mind sharing your bowling journey, how you first got into bowling, and what led to the pros?
Yeah. My family has owned a bowling alley since before I was born.
Okay.
So I grew up in the bowling alley. Um, I mean, I always kind of like messed around when I was younger. I never really took it seriously, and like my parents totally knew that. But I have a twin sister, so as we got
Okay.
older, they started putting her in like these tournaments, and I started getting like super mad and jealous because they were taking her and not me. Um, and so then I kind of like started taking it more seriously. So once I got into like eighth grade, I kind of decided more to like actually take it seriously and that I could like do this into college and whatnot. Um, so I started bowling the same tournaments. I didn't win right away. It was totally like a big reality check, of course. And then I just got better. And then once I got into high school, I bowled for Tecumseh. I bowled all 4 years. I won two individual state titles. My dad coached us, and then of course I was on the team with my sister, so that was a lot of fun. Our summers were spent bowling.
Mm.
Once school was done, we bowled junior gold, and then we got recruited, and we settled on Central Missouri, which is also where
Okay.
my older sister went and did her undergrad. And then she was there our first year that we were there. Unfortunately, things didn't work out. I didn't really enjoy it as much as I thought I would,
Mm.
which led to both of us transferring to Arkansas State.
Was what you didn't enjoy, was that the college experience or the bowling experience?
I think like a little bit of both. Everybody's like, you put the student in athlete, but like I went to college to bowl. Like that
Mm.
was my mindset at first. And so when I got there and like I really wasn't enjoying the bowling aspect of it, like it kind of get like everything just kind of comes full circle. And like then you don't enjoy school, you
Sure.
don't enjoy being there, the atmosphere, like nothing. So I didn't really enjoy it. And so I decided that, well, both of us decided that we were going to leave together. And then we transferred to Arkansas State. And my 3 years there were much better. And, I had a lot of fun. I got good grades, graduated. And then as soon as I graduated, I went on tour.
Nice. What did you study in college?
I studied communications and public relations and social media management with marketing.
What's your favorite collegiate bowling experience?
On the lanes and off the lanes would just be like spending time with the girls. Like we had so much fun together. We lived together, so we always hung out. And we just had a lot of fun. But like on the lanes, like my favorite tournament we probably won. like conference was always fun to win.
Hmm.
But the Music City Classic, my sophomore year, is my first year on the team, we won and like we dominated and we just bowled really good. And it's one of the hardest tournaments of the season. So like
Hmm.
you always want to win that tournament.
So I know you bowl for Team USA. What has that experience been like?
Fun. We don't have like a lot of time together. We go to training camp, which is 1 week out of the year,
Okay.
and then they pick teams for whatever event is that year. Um, we go to trials in January to make the team. And then like throughout the year, like we see each other every week because we're all on tour together, but we're not bowling as a team, unfortunately.
So in bowling, confidence is obviously a very important aspect. And typically you gain more confidence when you've had success like you've had. So, but
Mhm.
how does someone get that confidence prior to having the success?
I think it comes from sticking to what you know. The more you practice and the more you work on things, and then you go to a tournament and you see like those things paying off, like
Hmm.
that's where you get your confidence from and knowing like that I can do that. A lot of times, like when I was younger, like I didn't always have confidence. But it's like the things that I worked on, and then I would go bowl a tournament and I would see those things like being incorporated into my game and me not being scared of them.
Hmm.
Like that's where I built my confidence, like that I can do it.
How do you mentally prepare for a tournament or going on tour? Is the mental game something you really focus on, or is it just kind of roll with the punches?
More roll with the punches.
Okay.
I mean, I've read books and done stuff like prior, but it's not something that I feel like I have to work on every day to have a good mental game. I mean, I have a good one and I have a strong one, but it's not something that like I pick apart daily or focus on.
Hmm.
Like I don't pinpoint one thing really to be like, that's definitely why my mental game is strong. I think it's just from over the years and competing as much as I have, like you just build it up.
And so I guess when you have, like you mentioned earlier, having those 130 games, you just know that you're going to bounce back and
Yeah.
have big games to make up for
And
those.
yeah. And like, and it's hard to have that mindset. For a long time I struggled with that mindset. I'm like,
Hmm.
great, I'm shooting 130 and then I'm going to shoot 150. Like it's over. Let's just go home.
Right.
And like you learn like over the years, like self-talk is such a big thing. And like my mom has preached to me for years about self-talk.
Hmm.
And I was always just like, yeah, whatever. Like it's not a big deal. Like me getting mad at myself, hopefully like kicks my butt into be like, okay, let's go. But then I started like the self-talk, I started talking to myself differently and like you just see the changes and what it can change. And
Hmm.
I think that's where everything kind of just shifted.
So would you say the self talk is probably the biggest aspect of your mental game? Positive self
Yeah,
talk?
probably.
Okay.
Yeah.
How do you stay sharp when not on tour? Obviously, the tour season is not very long, so you've got a lot of time. Do you bowl league? Do you obviously bowl probably regional tournaments, that sort of thing? Do you also bowl league?
I did. I've bowled league for since I've been home from school. But this year I'm not. I'm just kind of enjoying my time off. I'm not gonna lie.
Okay.
Um, but my family, they all bowl together, so like I can bowl with them at league anytime that I really want to. It's just a matter of if I want to. But this past like since I've been home from tour in August, like I took a lot of time off
Hmm.
and it's been very enjoyable and I kind of enjoyed that for once. Like, it's always been bowl, bowl, bowl. We
Hmm.
always have something to look forward to. There's always something going on. And then right now it's finally like I can have some downtime and I don't have to focus on something all the time.
Sure.
So it's been nice.
When you're on tour, is your family and friends, are they a big part of your support system?
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel like finding that circle is honestly a big part of your success. Like forever, everybody's always like you become who you surround yourself with.
Hmm.
And, I found two friends this year that I like started rooming with and we became really good friends. And it's because you spend more time with them off the lanes, but they're also the ones that like help you when you're on the lanes. Like, we're all competitors, but if like you ever need help, like that you can go to those people and be like, what are you seeing that I'm not seeing?
Hmm.
And they'll give you their feedback. Um, and they're the ones that cheer for you when you're winning, but they'll be
Hmm.
right there to pick you up when you're missing cuts. Like you just have to find that balance.
went on tour or in any tournament, you're bowling in a lot of different centers, a lot of different lane surfaces. How much do you consider the lane surface when preparing for tournaments? You've got, Brunswick has Pro Am Lane, AMF has the HPL. How did those different surfaces really play into your strategy?
To be honest, I really don't like that much because I don't really know the difference between all of them. I mean, I know some hook more earlier more than others. It kind of
Sure.
depends how old they are. Like our ball reps pay attention to that more. So when I'm on tour, like they give me that knowledge.
Okay.
Um, but like personally, like I don't walk into somewhere and be like, well, these are these lanes, so this is
Hmm.
what's going to happen. Like I don't really ever look into stuff like that.
Does the lane surface, and you may have already kind of answered this with your last answer, but the lane surface versus topography, do you concern yourself with topography at all?
Not really, not
Right.
really,
So
no.
you more just roll
Um,
the ball and let it tell you what's happening.
Yes. And then if like something is like drastically wrong on pairs, like the reps kind of know, so they're the ones that'll tell you be like, hey, this lane is doing this or stuff like that.
Right.
But the only time that we really get like a topography book, um, I think is at Queens.
Hmm.
The Queens or the US Open, something like that. They give them. But other than that, like no, we don't ever really see the topography books.
What is your strategy when you get lost? When you have those 130 games you mentioned earlier, what is your strategy of figuring it out?
To get into a ball that will allow me to get nine, and then kind of pick up my spares because usually when I'm shooting 130, I'm not leaving very many makeable spares,
Hmm.
or perhaps I'm missing all of them. Who knows?
Okay.
Um, so it's kind of just getting more into like a comfortable part of the lane, a ball that I can trust, and once I can see my ball do the right thing and see the picture, things become a lot more clear. But during those 130s, usually like we're fishing around for balls, playing different parts of the lane. So then the next game is kind of like, and of course, it could just be that pair.
Hmm.
And that's kind of the mindset that you have to have. Like, the next pair hopefully is going to be better.
Right.
And so I kind of just got into that mindset of that it will get better. And then you move lanes and there might be a different ball rep where you're going, or the same one will move with you. And you kind of just like in that time, you do have time to just sit down for a second and like cool down and make the best decision possible once you can talk everything out.
Mm. You mentioned getting into the right ball. Do you have a favorite ball you're rolling right now, or just something that you're just really happy with right now?
This summer, my go-to ball was my high wire. It's so
Okay.
old, I know. But it is like my baby, so it goes everywhere with me. So it's like usually once we can, if I like get into that ball, then we can like figure it out and the picture becomes more clear.
What are you looking forward to most in the 2024 season?
Winning hopefully again. But to be realistic, just to see all my friends again. We all become such good friends over the summer,
Hmm.
and then we all go our separate ways. We're all in different states, we're in different time zones. So the time that we see each other is very limited. So I am looking forward to seeing all my friends again. Um, but just to like I feel like this year I just bowled happy.
Hmm.
Um, and I had like a life change, I feel like, and got into a better headspace.
Hmm.
And I feel like that really portrayed on the lane. So just kind of have that going forward and just, anything can happen, like win or lose, like it's still just bowling.
Sure. You mind if I ask what your life change was?
I, so when I graduated college, I got a boyfriend. So I moved
Hmm.
an hour away.
Okay.
But then we broke up. And so I moved back home. So now I'm with my family again. I
Hmm.
see them every day and I enjoy being here.
What things do you enjoy doing when you're not on the lanes? Do you have any hobbies, anything that gets your mind off bowling?
Golfing sometimes. I'm
Okay.
really bad at it, but I enjoy it. I enjoy it occasionally. But I just like to spend time with my family, honestly.
How would your friends and family describe you?
Oh God, that's a good one. Uh, mm, I don't know. That's a good question. I feel like I need to like go ask them when I'm done with this to see what they'd say. Um, I'm honestly, I don't even know. Yeah, I don't know. I'm stumped with that one.
What makes you feel most alive?
Uh, I feel like bowling does.
Hmm.
You know, it's always like a constant change. Like everything always changes, and like it's, you know, you like I win a tournament, but then the next week, like it's you're not satisfied.
Hmm.
Like you're always like looking for more, and I feel like that's what kind of just keeps you going.
Who or what has been the greatest influence in your bowling career and your life?
Oh, easily like my parents. Um, you know, they paved the way for us to be successful, and like day in and day out, they work their butts off every day, you know, to provide for when we were younger. You know, how many
Hmm.
times they took off work to take us to bowling on the weekends. And then we get into high school and they do the same thing. And then they're taking us somewhere every week to our matches. And then we get into college and they sacrifice their entire weekend to fly or drive to wherever we are so they can watch us bowl. But like everything that they did was so we could have the life that we have now. Um, and so I will forever be in debt to them. So definitely them.
What would you say is your, I asked you about collegiate bowling, but what would you say is your favorite bowling memory overall?
I want to go like, of course, winning by myself on tour is fun, but 2019 World Championships with Team USA when we won trios is probably my most memorable win. We bowled Colombia and we were down pretty much the entire match. And we came back and threw a lot of strikes and won within like the final 10th frame.
Hmm.
So I think that is the most memorable win.
Do you enjoy bowling as an individual or as a team better?
I definitely like bowling as a team more.
Hmm.
Unfortunately, we just don't have a lot of that anymore, you
Right,
know. So it is nice to be on Team USA because that is like I get my team bowling fulfillment there.
right.
Um, but I do really like bowling with the team. I think it's a lot of fun, and when you get the right people bowling on the team, it's even more fun.
All right, so last question. What is a question that you wish people would ask you, or that maybe I should have asked you?
I think my question would just be like more of like how we got where we are
Hmm.
instead of just being like, oh, like you're so lucky or stuff like that. But it's like I didn't just one day wake up and become this good bowler that with all these
Right.
wins. And you did cover a lot of that. But I feel like a lot of people forget the hard work that we've put in prior to where our success is right now.
So then,
Like
what did you have to sacrifice to get where you are?
I feel like a lot of things, you know, like I didn't in college, like I didn't party and
Hmm.
you know, I didn't go out ever. Um, and even like in my life now, like I was supposed to be the maid of honor in my best friend's wedding and I turned it down and wasn't in her wedding at all because there was a tournament that weekend, you
Hmm.
know, so for so long, like bowling is always in the front.
Hmm.
But I can't give up my dreams for somebody else.
Sure.
Um, and unfortunately, you know, things work out like that, but those sacrifices are the reason that I, you know, can win player of the year. Like,
Hmm.
and I know a lot of people, like, I mean, not a lot of people, I guess, just like the bowlers kind of know that because like our weekends are spent bowling.
Right.
So it's not a lot of time that we get to go out and do a lot of things. Like we're bowling tournaments, we're practicing,
Hmm.
like we miss out on a lot in life to be successful. But I would do it all over again. So I cannot complain.
Well, that's awesome. Well, I think that's a great place to leave it. Thank you so much for coming on the show. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for having me.
Best of luck next season, and
Thank you.
hopefully it could be a repeat.
Let's hope.
Thanks again, Jordan, for your time. Have a good day.
Thank you. You too.
Thanks for watching. Please share this episode with a friend, and don't forget to subscribe. We'll see you next time on The Bowler's Mind.